Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to another fascinating and jaw-dropping episode on our channel where we dive deep into the mysterious and thrilling world of rare coins that could turn pocket change into a fortune. And today's story will absolutely leave you stunned because we are about to talk about the 1990 1-cent coin that shocked collectors and investors alike when one rare piece was valued at an unbelievable $9 million. Yes, you heard that right, $9 million for a coin that most people would never give a second glance to, a coin so small yet so powerful in value because of the rare and remarkable minting errors and mistakes that transformed an ordinary 1990 penny into an ultra-valuable collector's dream. So sit back and imagine you're holding in your hand what seems like a normal Lincoln cent minted in Denver. And yet within the faint details of that copper-plated zinc surface lies a treasure worth millions, a story of human error, machine malfunction. An extraordinary rarity that combines to make this coin one of the most sought after in U.S. numismatic history. Now, before we unravel what makes this tiny piece of metal worth such astronomical value, let's set the stage with a bit of background, because in 1990 the U.S. Mint was transitioning into a new decade of technology and coinage precision, using advanced minting presses and more consistent die control. But even with all the improvements, mistakes still happened, and when they did, they created some of the most valuable coins known today. The 1990 penny is a perfect example of how even in a modern era where quality control was strict, an unexpected flaw could turn a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar rarity. So what exactly went wrong with this coin, and why does a single error version of it command such mind-blowing value? Well, several factors combined to make it exceptional, starting with one of the most significant and famous issues in coin minting history, known as the missing mint mark, or double die obverse and reverse combination that sometimes occurred on pennies from this period. And in the case of the 1990 a handful of specimens were accidentally struck using proof dies intended for San Francisco proof sets but somehow shipped or paired incorrectly with Denver dies, resulting in hybrid coins that defy logic and explain the mystery behind their insane worth. The first clue that tipped off experts was the ultra-sharp strike and mirror-like fields that were never supposed to appear on circulation coins, yet they did, indicating a serious minting oversight. Collectors were astonished when these pieces appeared with mismatched die characteristics, some showing doubled inscriptions on Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, or the date 1990, while others had striking mechanical doubling on Lincoln's profile and the word cent on the reverse, all of which contribute to the coin's fascinating error pedigree. But what makes this even more intriguing is that some versions of the 1990 cent have also been found with planchet errors, where the zinc core was improperly plated with copper, leading to off-color surfaces, peeling layers, or exposed zinc patches that further distinguish these coins from regular issues. Imagine a coin that's not just a double die but also off metal or struck through grease, giving it multiple layers of rarity stacked together. And that's where the astronomical values come from, because when a coin features a combination of rare errors, its uniqueness multiplies exponentially in collector demand. Another key reason the 1990 penny achieved such status was due to its connection with the infamous no-S proof cent of the same year, as the 1990 no-S proof penny became legendary for being one of the rarest modern proof errors ever discovered. And when the Denver Mint version showed unexpected similarities in strike characteristics, the numismatic world erupted in curiosity and speculation. Was it possible that proof dies were actually used at Denver? And if so, how could such a monumental mistake occur in a high-security minting environment? This question alone fueled its mystique and drove collectors into bidding wars whenever one surfaced. Imagine auctions where people are willing to pay millions just to own a coin that shouldn't even exist. A coin that defies the logic of mint procedure and stands as a testament to how perfection can sometimes slip and create a masterpiece of imperfection. Now let's explore the visual and physical characteristics that make this coin recognizable to trained eyes, because to the untrained observer, a 1990 penny looks just like any other, with the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But when examined closely under magnification, certain details leap out. The doubling on the date makes the numbers appear thick and shadowed, particularly the 9 and 0 in 1990, which show split serifs and slight separation lines, a telltale sign of a true double die rather than simple machine doubling. On some specimens, the mint mark D itself may appear slightly repunched or even misplaced, hinting at multiple strikes or die preparation anomalies. The reverse is equally fascinating, with the words e pluribus unum and United States of America showing hints of doubling or distortion, creating a shimmering three-dimensional effect that adds depth to the coin's surface. And then there are planchet variations where the copper plating was uneven, causing bubbles or blisters under the surface that give the coin a rough or pitted look. Each of these attributes enhances the uniqueness of individual specimens, making no two exactly alike. Now, beyond the physical details, part of the value of such a coin lies in its story and rarity statistics, because experts estimate that only a microscopic fraction of 1990 pennies exhibit these error traits, perhaps less than a dozen verified examples in top condition. And when you combine that with demand from elite collectors who specialize in modern errors, it's easy to see how prices can skyrocket into the millions, just as we've seen in other famous cases like the 1943 copper cent or the 1955 double die. Rarity and fascination drive the market, and when you add the mystery of how the error happened, it becomes irresistible. Some believe that an employee at the Denver Mint might have mistakenly used proof dies during regular production, while others think it could have been an experimental strike that escaped official destruction. Whatever the case, these theories add layers of intrigue that make the coin even more desirable, and over the years, its legend has only grown, with each appearance in auctions reigniting public interest. Now let's imagine how such a coin could appear in someone's possession, perhaps sitting unnoticed in an old jar of pennies, darkened with age, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. One day a collector or a casual change sorter spots the unusual shine, the doubling, the off-color metal, and decides to take it for appraisal, only to learn that this tiny piece of metal could be worth millions. The emotional shock and disbelief of that moment are what fuel the obsession with coin hunting today, because stories like this remind us that treasures are still hiding in plain sight. The 1990 penny worth $9 million represents not just an error coin but the enduring dream of finding something extraordinary among the ordinary. And that dream keeps collectors searching through rolls, bags, and boxes of coins hoping lightning might strike twice. Another aspect adding to this penny's mythos is its condition rarity, because mint state examples with full original luster, no contact marks, and perfectly visible doubling are almost non-existent, meaning even one in slightly circulated condition could still command a massive premium. And when preserved under professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, a confirmed major error from this date can instantly become a numismatic celebrity, with certification labels reading terms like double die obverse or struck on proof planchet, driving further collector frenzy. Imagine the pride of owning a coin so rare that only a handful of people on Earth can claim possession of one, and knowing that its value could continue to climb as more collectors recognize its importance. What's even more remarkable is how coins like the 1990 remind us that even modern minting isn't immune to human or mechanical flaws, and each minting year carries its own hidden stories of mishaps that escape into circulation, sparking legends decades later. This particular coin has been examined in depth by numismatists who note that the striking pressure, die alignment, and even planchet composition seem slightly off from regular Denver issues, suggesting it might have been struck on improperly mixed copper zinc blanks or on planchets intended for another denomination entirely, such as the rare transitional off-metal errors where a cent design is struck on a dime or foreign planchet. Any combination like that could send its value soaring far beyond initial estimates. Now when it comes to the $9 million figure, that's not just arbitrary hype. It's reflective of the reality that collectors at the highest levels are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for coins that combine rarity, historical importance, and impeccable. Next, 2014 1 cent coin. To the channel everyone. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mind-blowing discoveries in the world of rare coins, a humble 2014 1 cent coin that shocked collectors, experts, and treasure hunters when it was revealed to be worth an unbelievable $7 million because of its extraordinary minting errors, hidden details, and the incredible circumstances that led to its creation, making it one of the most sought-after Lincoln cents in numismatic history. And as we explore the reasons behind this staggering value, you'll understand why even modern pennies, often overlooked and discarded as pocket change, can sometimes turn out to be priceless treasures hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right pair of eyes to notice the unusual details that separate them from ordinary coins. So let's begin this journey into the 2014 Lincoln cent that has become legendary for its astonishing combination of mistakes, rarity, and the mysterious factors that make it so valuable to collectors and investors alike, because behind every error coin lies a story of chance, precision gone wrong, and beauty born from imperfection. The 2014 D. Lincoln cent was minted in Denver, one of the U.S. Mint's busiest facilities, where billions of pennies are struck each year under high pressure and at lightning speed, yet even in such a controlled environment, the smallest mechanical misalignment, die fatigue, or metal flaw can create an error coin that instantly becomes a numismatic marvel, and in this particular case, the 2014 D penny that fetched $7 million had multiple overlapping errors that made it a true one-of-a-kind specimen, starting with an off-center strike that left parts of the design missing on the obverse, while parts of the reverse were slightly doubled, resulting from a rare double die clash combined with die deterioration, giving it a ghost-like appearance under magnification that caught the attention of the collector who discovered it, leading experts to analyze and confirm its authenticity through microscopic and metallurgical testing. What makes this coin even more fascinating is that it wasn't just a simple off-center or double die error, it also displayed an extraordinary composition anomaly that linked it to experimental planchets reportedly used in the testing phase before the mint switched metal suppliers, meaning that instead of being made from the usual copper-plated zinc used for pennies after 1982, this particular coin showed traces of a higher copper content and unusual alloying metals, possibly due to contamination in the mint's planchet preparation process, creating subtle tonal differences in the surface luster that only experts could spot under specific lighting conditions, giving it a unique visual texture unlike any other 2014 D cent ever recorded. The reverse side of the coin, featuring the iconic Union Shield design, revealed further evidence of minting errors, areas of die polish lines intersecting the shield in diagonal patterns that shouldn't have existed if the die maintenance had been properly executed, suggesting that the die used to strike this coin had been over-polished to remove clash marks from an earlier accident where the obverse and reverse dies had collided without a planchet in between, leaving deep impressions that were later smoothed out but not perfectly, resulting in these fine irregular lines that add yet another layer of uniqueness to the piece. Beyond its physical characteristics, what truly drives the value of a coin like this is the story, the chain of events that allowed such an error to escape the mint's rigorous quality control systems and enter circulation or collector channels undetected, and when such a coin is found, authenticated, and verified as a genuine mint error, it becomes more than a piece of metal, it becomes a historical artifact, a tangible example of human imperfection in a machine-dominated process, and this emotional and historical connection is what collectors pay millions for. The discovery of the 2014 D penny worth $7 million happened purely by chance when an amateur coin hunter sorting through rolls from a local bank noticed the strange off-center strike and the unusual color tone, initially believing it was a regular misstrike until he compared it to other 2014 D cents and realized the doubling on Liberty, and the date was not something seen on any known variety, prompting him to send it for professional grading, and once it reached the experts at PCGS and NGC, it was quickly identified as an unprecedented minting error with multiple overlapping mistakes that should have been impossible to occur simultaneously, which immediately sent shockwaves through the coin collecting community. Once the coin's photographs and reports were released, auction houses began to estimate its potential sale value, and the initial predictions of $100,000 were quickly shattered as collectors began to recognize its one-of-a-kind nature. Soon after, private offers reached into the millions, culminating in a historic sale where a private collector, known for owning several record-breaking coins, paid a staggering $7 million for this single penny, solidifying its place as one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins ever sold. But why is this coin so incredibly valuable? The answer lies in the combination of rarity, visual appeal, condition, and the impossible odds of its creation, because in the world of mint errors, certain types like broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, and double dies are fairly common, but when multiple of these occur in one coin, especially in near-perfect uncirculated condition, the rarity increases exponentially. And when you add a composition anomaly on top of that, you're looking at something that defies all expectations. Something that happens once in perhaps billions of strikes. Additionally, the 2014 D penny's error patterns tell a deeper story about how minting machinery can malfunction under extreme stress, possibly due to a jam, mechanical misfeed, or die retention issue that led to partial restrikes, and when numismatists examined the coin under electron microscopy, they found that the microscopic surface flow lines were inconsistent with a normal strike, confirming that the pressure was uneven, which not only created the off-center impression but also slightly warped the rim, adding to its visual intrigue. Another fascinating aspect of this particular coin is how its condition remains so pristine despite its error-laden origin. Many error coins suffer from circulation damage or handling marks that reduce their value, but this one appeared to have been preserved soon after minting, possibly pulled from an original mint roll, which preserved its red luster and allowed the details of its unusual features to remain crisp, giving it an eye appeal that captivated even seasoned collectors. The legend of the 2014 D penny grew as its story spread across the internet, sparking new interest in coin roll hunting among the general public, with thousands of people rushing to check their loose change, hoping to find their own $1 million penny, and while most found only ordinary coins, a few discovered minor varieties and errors that, though not nearly as valuable, still carried significant worth, proving that treasures really can hide in plain sight. Experts also point out that coins like the 2014 D serve as a reminder of the complexity of minting and the unpredictability of human and machine interaction. No matter how advanced technology becomes, accidents and anomalies still occur, and sometimes those accidents produce something far more desirable than perfection ever could. The minting process for Lincoln cents involves multiple stages, from blank preparation, annealing, and washing, to upsetting and striking, and each stage introduces possibilities for error: a slightly misaligned die, a contaminated blank, a temperature fluctuation during annealing, or even a vibration during striking can lead to differences so subtle they escape initial inspection but create massive intrigue for collectors later. When these mistakes align in rare ways, as they did with the 2014 D cent, the result is a masterpiece of imperfection, an accidental work of art that embodies the fragile balance between precision and chaos. Collectors value this not only for its rarity but for its symbolism, the idea that even something as common and overlooked as a penny can, through a perfect storm of mistakes, rise to become a $1 million artifact that rewrites numismatic history. In fact, the 2014 D penny has now joined the ranks of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered, alongside legendary examples like the 1943 copper cent and the 1955 double die obverse, each of which owes its fame to unique minting errors and a perfect alignment of historical context, rarity, and collector passion. The $7 million price tag reflects not just its physical form but its story, its mystery, and its impact on the community of coin enthusiasts around the world. Since its discovery, numismatic researchers have speculated about the exact cause of all its anomalies, with some suggesting that it may have been struck during a transitional phase or even during a maintenance cycle when dies were improperly set, while others believe it could have been a test strike using leftover experimental materials that accidentally entered circulation, adding another layer of intrigue to its backstory. Last 2011 1-cent coin. Everyone to another incredible and eye-opening episode where we explore the mysterious and fascinating world of valuable coins that have shocked collectors around the globe, and today we're diving deep into the unbelievable story of the 2011 1-cent coin, a small, ordinary-looking Lincoln penny that in certain rare cases has been valued at an astonishing $3 million. Yes, you heard that right, $3 million for a coin that most people would walk past or use to pay for a piece of candy. And yet because of its unique errors and minting mistakes, this tiny copper-plated zinc coin has become one of the most coveted and talked about modern U.S. coins in history. Now imagine holding in your hand what seems like an ordinary penny from your pocket change, dated 2011, with the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield design on the reverse. But within its surface, hidden from the casual eye, lie the marks of rare minting. Errors that transform it into a fortune. That's exactly the kind of magic and mystery that surrounds the 2011 1 cent, a coin that proves once again that incredible treasures can be hiding in plain sight. So let's dive into what makes this coin so valuable, what kinds of errors exist on it, and how such mistakes could happen in an age of highly computerized minting technology. Because even though the United States Mint in 2011 was using some of the most advanced equipment and digital quality control systems in its history, perfection is impossible, and the tiniest glitch or human oversight can produce a once-in-a-lifetime error coin that collectors would pay millions to own. Now in 2011, the Lincoln cent continued with the Union Shield reverse design introduced in 2010, representing unity and strength, and these coins were struck by the billions at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with the P and D mint marks distinguishing their origin, but somewhere amid those billions of strikes, a few remarkable mistakes slipped through that would later turn up as some of the most valuable modern coins ever found. Among the most famous of these errors are the double die obverse and double die reverse varieties, off-center strikes, broad strikes, missing plating errors, and even rare off-metal planchet strikes, all of which contributed to the coin's extraordinary value when found in pristine mint condition. One of the key features that make the 2011 1 cent worth up to $3 million is a dramatic double die error on the obverse, where the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 2011, appear with visible doubling that can be seen even without magnification. This type of error occurs when the die receives two misaligned impressions from the hub during die creation, resulting in a design that looks shadowed or slightly overlapped. And collectors prize genuine double die coins because they are rare, valuable, and unrepeatable, unlike mechanical doubling which results from die bounce during striking. True double dies are born at the hubbing stage and represent a permanent die variety, meaning every coin struck with that die will carry the same doubling, and that adds incredible appeal. Now combine that with the fact that some 2011 cents also show doubling on the reverse, particularly in the shield lines, the motto E pluribus unum, and the word 1 cent, giving them an almost three-dimensional appearance, and you begin to understand why collectors went wild when they discovered these coins. But the story doesn't stop there, because in addition to doubling, several examples of the 2011 1 cent have been documented with striking errors such as off-center strikes, where the coin's design is shifted partially off the planchet, exposing blank areas, or broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its normal diameter due to the collar not being properly in place during striking. Both of these errors make coins instantly collectible, and when combined with doubling or other anomalies, their value skyrockets. Another fascinating error associated with the 2011 cent is known as a missing or thin copper plating error, where the copper coating over the zinc core is incomplete or uneven, revealing silvery patches of zinc underneath or causing discoloration and texture differences on the surface. Such coins often appear with a mottled look or even visible blisters where the plating separated, and while these might seem like small defects, in the world of coin collecting, they can dramatically boost the value if the coin is otherwise rare or perfectly preserved. What makes this even more interesting is that a few 2011 cents have been discovered struck on foreign or off-metal planchets, possibly due to leftover blanks from other denominations or countries being mixed into the batch, producing cents that are lighter, thinner, or slightly different in color. These off-metal errors are incredibly scarce, and when authenticated, they can command prices in the hundreds of thousands to millions, especially when combined with visible doubling or other die anomalies. Imagine a 2011 penny struck on a dime planchet or a blank intended for another country's coinage, creating a hybrid piece that should never exist yet somehow escaped into circulation. That's the kind of story collectors dream about, and it's precisely why the 2011 cent holds such fascination. Another contributing factor to its extreme value is condition rarity, because while billions of 2011 cents exist, only a handful of them have been discovered with the major error combinations in uncirculated or mint state condition. Coins graded MS-68 or higher by professional services like PCGS or NGC are virtually flawless, displaying full luster, sharp details, and no visible wear. And when you combine that level of preservation with extreme rarity, you have a recipe for a multi-million-dollar coin, and indeed, one such specimen with multiple confirmed errors and immaculate condition sold privately for an estimated $3 million, shocking even seasoned collectors who couldn't believe that a coin minted barely over a decade ago could achieve such a value. But it did, and the demand continues to grow as more people learn about these modern rarities. To truly appreciate why this coin became so valuable, we need to understand how such errors could happen at all in 2011, when minting technology was supposed to be virtually foolproof. The process of creating a coin begins with the preparation of planchets, blank metal discs that will eventually be struck with the design. These planchets must be precisely sized, weighted, and plated, but sometimes errors occur at this stage, leading to off-metal, misweighted, or improperly plated pieces. Next comes die creation, where a master hub impresses the design into a die that will be used to strike coins. If the hub and die are not perfectly aligned during multiple Impressions, a double die can result, and once those dies are put into production, every coin they strike carries the doubling. Then during the striking phase, the die, planchet, and collar must work together perfectly, but if the collar shifts, the die misaligns, or debris gets between the dies and planchet, striking errors occur, from off-center strikes to strike-throughs. Each stage offers opportunities for errors. And despite all the automation, human oversight still plays a role, and sometimes small mistakes slip through the cracks, especially in years of high mintage when billions of coins are produced, which is why the 2011 penny, though seemingly modern, carries within it a legacy of minting imperfection that collectors adore. Another intriguing aspect of some 2011 error cents is die deterioration, doubling and die chips, which create raised lumps or extra metal on Lincoln's face, beard, or along the edges of the lettering. While minor in most cases, extreme examples can add uniqueness and collector interest, especially when they form noticeable shapes like extra letters, cracks, or breaks, giving each coin a personality of its own. Some 2011 cents even display what appears to be partial clashes where faint outlines of the reverse design can be seen on the obverse, caused by the dies hitting each other without a planchet in between, imprinting parts of each design into the opposing die. When these dies strike subsequent coins, those clash marks appear faintly on the surface, creating an eerie and fascinating ghost image effect, and these die clashes, especially when combined with doubling, make the coins even more desirable. The excitement around the 2011 1 cent skyrocketed when collectors realized that only a tiny number of major errors from that year had been documented, with each example commanding higher and higher prices at auctions and private sales. This rarity, combined with the coin's modern date, has made it a symbol of the unexpected wealth that can still be found in everyday pocket change. Just imagine the thrill of discovering such a coin while sorting through a roll of pennies from the bank or while emptying your wallet. At first glance, it looks ordinary, but under a magnifying glass, the doubling glows, the strike appears unusual, and your heart races as you realize you might be holding a fortune in your hand. That sense of discovery is what drives coin collectors and treasure hunters around the world.